What's going on, horror gang? Welcome to I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. As you know, I'm your host Marcus. Please be sure to shoot that like button and subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon to get all latest content updates to the channel. In this video, I'm going to give you guys my full-on spoiler review for The Black Phone, starring EthanHawke and Mason Thames, that just came over the weekend. I did a non-spoiler review on this movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10. And in this video, I'm going to get into the meat and gravy of the entire movie. Before I do that, let's hit that intro. I shot him 6 times. Alright gang, so let's get into it. So, obviously The Black Phone came out over the weekend. A lot of fans are giving it a lot of praise. They like the movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10 on my rating. Thought it was a really good movie. I will say that in this video, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of spoilers. I'm going to just basically go around the character development and what I liked and disliked about the movie. That's basically what this video is going to be about. I don't want to go into the scenes too much, too heavy. I don't want to go into all that and really full out spoil the movie for everybody, but I do just want to talk about certain things from the movie, what I liked and what I disliked, and why I couldn't give it a 10 out of 10, and also my grounds for a prequel, not a sequel. I will say I don't think, especially after the ending of this movie, I don't see how we can get a sequel unless we were to get a copycat killer of the grabber. That is possible, but I think there's more grounds for a prequel, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So let's start off with obviously the backdrop. I did like the fact that this movie was showcased in the 1970s. I love these type of movies because it makes me feel like a kid again. You know, I love these type of movies. It's, you know, gives you that old school feel. You know, it makes you feel like you're watching Halloween and Friday the 13th all over again. I love that whole atmosphere, as well as the character development. I felt like the character development was really well written, especially for the family of the Blakes. This was, for Finney's character, in my opinion, this was more of a coming of age type of story for his character arc. If you can obviously tell that he is more of a timid type kid, he doesn't have much of a social background, doesn't really have many friends. The one main friend that we do see him have in this movie actually ends up being one of the kids being abducted, and that would be Robin. So what this movie was about in terms of Finney Blake's character was more about coming of age, standing up to himself, especially in times where you need to stand up for yourself, especially when you're being attacked and assaulted, etc. And I thought they did a really good job of slowly building that up. You see that throughout this movie, that especially when he gets held captive, you know, he is so unsure of himself that he knows what to do in this situation. And then obviously he does get the help of previous victims to guide him through. And that's another thing that I felt was really well written in terms of previous characters that were abducted in this movie that you got to see in terms of Robin, Billy, Bruce, Vance, and Griffin. You know, I thought that was really well written, that you didn't just hear them giving him the clues to how they were trying to escape for him to use. You also got some flashback scenes of these characters, or at least a little bit of backdrop into these characters that did get abducted as well. Now, I'll also say I really enjoyed the character development of the father and the daughter. And why I feel like it is so dynamic in this movie is because we obviously see that there's no mother in the picture. We find out that the mother of the Blakes is she took her own life, but we also find out that she holds the same ability as Gwen, that she can see things in her dreams that are actually true. And why I feel like this character development between Terrence Blake and Gwen Blake is so dynamic is because you see Terrence, you can see from the outset he's traumatized, he's on the edge, he's drinking a lot, he's somewhat abusive to his kids, whatnot, and that's all because, you know, him losing his wife and the reasonings behind losing his wife. And he blames these dreams on why he lost his wife, which is why he is so hard on Gwen when she has these dreams and these visions, and she tells him about it. He wants her to believe they're not real, they are just dreams. And I thought that that was really good character development. Slowly but surely, you see him, tell her this. Look, I don't want you to fall down the same path as your mother, which is why I am the way I am with you. But you also see that if it's going to help find his son, that he's willing to get past his own beliefs and trust in his daughter, to lead the way into finding her brother in this situation. I thought that the writing in this movie was so well done to a degree. In terms of the Blakes, though, it was really well done, especially in terms of the story arc, in terms of the direction, everything, especially in Finney's case, because, it was a slow build. It really was. It was a slow build. You see this kid who is timid. He doesn't know how to fight back. He doesn't believe he can fight back, etc. And then slowly but surely, with the help and with the guidance of previous victims, you see him build that confidence within himself. You see him start to believe that he can, maybe, just maybe, have a chance at survival in this situation. Another character I want to touch on is the character of Max. We end up finding out that Max is actually the brother of the grabber. Now, this is the twist of the story, you guys. We see in a scene of the movie, the cops go to this house, they're door knocking, trying to see if any neighbors had saw Finney in the area. And we see this character, Max, open the door. He's very, very, high wired. And the reason for that is because, he does cocaine. He's on drugs and stuff. But another reason why this character is important is because he's actually following the case of the grabber, and he has a big board to where he thinks the location of where the grabber could be keeping these kids are, etc., etc. The cops kind of brush him off. They just see him as a loony, especially after seeing the cocaine on the table that he forgot to wipe off before the cops got there, whatever. But this character is really important because obviously he is the brother of the grabber. Now, I will say this. They did kind of spoil the twist if you listen closely. After Finney finds the courage to play the game Naughty Boy, which is why the grabber sits upstairs waiting. He leaves the door open. He leaves the door open for his victims to test them to see if they'll try to escape. It's a game he calls Naughty Boy to see if they'll disobey and try to escape. Well, obviously, Finney does try this, and obviously he gets caught, and the grabber reabducts him and takes him back to the house. Well, when the grabber takes him back to the house and puts him back in bed, you hear Max upstairs complaining or whatnot, and which you hear the grabber say, "Shut up, Max, it's just a dog barking," or whatnot. It's very, very, they give it away right there, but you have to catch it. You know what I mean? But I thought that was a very, very fascinating twist. It's even more of a fascinating twist when you see later on, when we're getting to the final act scene, you see Max doing some cocaine on the table or whatever, and he's like tweaking out, but then he just zones in on his big board. And in a moment of common sense, he actually figures out that he is actually staying in the house of the grabber. His brother is the grabber. In this moment of time, this is where he realizes his own brother is the guy who he's been following and trying to figure out and help the police catch. It's nuts. Like, that is a twist that, I'll be honest, I did not see coming. And it was a pleasant twist. It was really well, another piece of dialogue and another character that was really well written into the story. Another thing to touch on about Max, which is, I'm going to later make a case for, a prequel, is that he said he was from Durango, but that he was staying at his brother's house or whatever. Now, keep in mind, when he says that, when the cops are knocking on this door, this is the house where the grabber lives, but they don't even know it yet. That's the beauty of how well this was written, So the twist was great. Everything, from character development was up to par. I really enjoyed those facets of the movie. I also enjoyed these facets. These high school kids were pretty brutal. You got to see a scene where Robin, before he was abducted, he beat the hell out of a school bully or whatnot, further threatening bullies who were trying to bully Finney in the bathroom or whatnot. Like, these kids in this school that he went to was pretty brutal. You get a flashback scene of Vance playing the ping pong game and somebody messes up his game and he snaps and beats that kid up. Like, these kids, there were no joke in this movie. You know, they portrayed these kids more like adults in terms of dialogue than they did as like teenagers or high school kids or middle schoolers, whatever you want to call them, etc. But overall, guys, like, I really did like this movie. You know what I mean? I thought it was really well written. Now, let's get to the point of where I feel like it wasn't well written. And it was more in terms of the grabber, in terms of EthanHawke's character. Don't get me wrong, guys. Loved his performance. But what I mean by well written is just he didn't have enough runtime. He just didn't. And I get it in terms of why he wasn't, seen, talking to Finney more or in the basement more. I get it. It was all a part of the point that he left the door open for Finney to play naughty boy. I get that. But I just wanted more dialogue. I wanted more scenes with the grabber in it. I did. You know what I mean? Which is why I couldn't give this movie a 10 out of 10. I just felt like it was, honestly, I felt like this movie, it wasn't so much about the grabber himself. It was about Finney and this coming of age story. And in terms of Finney's family as well, if you look at the dialogue between the father and the sister, in terms of the father not believing her dreams are real or whatnot, and then obviously he gives in to let her use her ability to try to find Finney. Obviously that's, terrific, character development. But this whole story was premised around the coming of age of Finney finding himself and learning to stand up for himself and not basically be a punk and not be a wimp, etc. And find confidence more so in himself. It's not even just about, standing up for himself when he has to. It's about self-esteem. It's about him having confidence in anything he wants to do. And you even seen that at the end of the movie where he goes back to school and he sits next to his crush that he likes, Donna, and she says, "Hey, Finney," and he looks at her and smiles and he says, "Call me Finn." It was a nice cherry on top for that character in terms of the direction they wanted to take it and what the story they were trying to tell in terms of character development and how far he has come from being this shy, timid kid to a kid now who has all the confidence in the world in his abilities in any type of situation. Thought that was really well done. But in terms of EthanHawke's character, it left a lot to be desired. I wish we got more scenes with the grabber. I wish we would have got more intense scenes with the grabber. I just felt like they left a lot to be desired in terms of the grabber's character and what he could do. Now, before I get off this video, guys, before I end this video, I should say, what I do want to say is I don't know how you can make a sequel to this other than maybe you have somebody else don the grabber mask and they're going to copycat, and it'd be like a copycat type movie. I don't really see how you can do a sequel unless it would be for that. How I would feel about that, I don't really know. But I'd be more on board for a prequel. Here's why. Is because then in that case, you can make up for lost time in this movie with the grabber. You can give us more of a backstory. Because I will say this, I don't believe this is the first town he's done this in. I think he was doing this for a long, long time. And I think the fact that Max pointed out that he's from Durango helps make that even more possible. You know what I mean? What if he was living in Durango, he was doing it there, but maybe cops there started to catch on to him, which is why he moved and switched locations or whatnot. As well as, what if in the prequel, instead of Gwen having these visions, etc., what if we, take it back a few years and stuff, and the mother of Finney and Gwen is alive, and we see her having these visions of the grabber making his first few grabs in this town where they're living at. Something like that. I would be more on board for a prequel because I felt like they planted the seeds better for a prequel than the sequel, in my opinion. I feel like, especially with not having EthanHawke as much in this movie as we would have liked, you can make up for that in a prequel by giving us a nice big backstory of who the grabber was, why he became the grabber, and also while showing, his early work, and maybe then leading into his work in terms of Vance, Griffin, Billy, Bruce, and Robin. Maybe we get some more detail out of that in terms of those abductions, and more, dialogue in those scenes. There's so many directions they could take for a prequel, in my opinion, that I think a prequel is just better suited. But I really would like a prequel in terms of, I would like to see the Blake smother be implemented, and I would like to see her in this movie maybe being the ones to have the visions of the grabber. And then unfortunately, obviously, we do end up seeing her meet her demise because of this whole ordeal. But I just think there's so many avenues they can take that they left in this movie for a prequel as opposed to a sequel. And I'm excited to see what direction they're going to take. And hopefully we get some updates soon. And yeah, we'll go from there once we do. Alright gang, that's it for this video, my spoiler review of The Black Phone. Hit the comment section if you watch this movie. Hit the comment section, let me know what you guys think about it. Did you guys like the movie? Did you dislike the movie? Was you disappointed in EthanHawke's performance or his runtime? Or was you satisfied? As well as, would you rather see a sequel to this movie, a prequel, or would you rather have both? Hit the comment section, I want to hear from you. Alright gang, that's it. This is I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. As you know, I'm your host Marcus. Once again, please be sure to shoot that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification icon so you get all the latest content updates to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. And stay tuned for after this video for a special message. Thank you for watching. What's going on, horror gang? It's me, Marcus, here from my Shot 'Em 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. And as some of you may know, myself and a few other content creators are trying to get to Monster Mania weekend from August 12th through the 14th in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Now, obviously, we are doing the best that we can to accommodate for these expenses to make this possible. However, we could use a little bit of help. If you would like to contribute to this cause and make this possible, there's a GoFundMe link set up in the description of this video. I would also like you to keep in mind that if you do donate to this cause, the top 3 donators will not only receive merchandise from me in the form of t-shirt, tumbler, mug, and a shot glass. You will also get an opportunity to come on the channel for a 1 and 2 hour live stream of your choosing, any horror movie franchise of your choosing, whatever topic you want to talk about, horror related. Other donators outside of the top 3, I will not leave you out of this as well, of course. I am also willing to let you come on the channel for a 1 and 2 hour live stream of your choosing. Any horror movie topic, any horror movie franchise. Now, I do want to point out as well, if you choose not to do the live stream, and this goes for both the top 3 and people outside the top 3 donators. If you choose not to do the live stream, then I will come up with a perk to best accommodate for your donation, because I greatly, greatly value you, and I greatly appreciate you guys donating to this, especially when times are hard out here, guys. We get it, So if you make a donation, especially, we greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I will make sure I will do my best that you guys will not go unnoticed, and I will do my best to give you guys these perks and make sure that they get completed. But all right, gang, I'm out of here for this video. Once again, that donation link is in the description of this video if you want to make a donation. Greatly appreciate everybody for your support, whether you make a donation or not, and I will catch you later.